Welcome to the Last Week This Week podcast. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zach Huber.
And this is the podcast where we talk about movie and TV topics from the last week, give them to you all this week. And this week we got a bunch of whole trailers to show you.
A bunch of whole
trailers. Yeah,
Not
a whole bunch of trailers is what I meant.
Not quarter of a trailer.
Yeah.
Whole trailers.
Whole trailers.
Yeah, we are. This is a very trailer heavy episode. We're going to talk about the new Bruce Springsteen biopic that's coming from the director of Crazy Heart. There was another final Superman trailer that came out along with tickets on sale now. So,
another episode, another Superman trailer.
Another episode, another Superman trailer. And then James Gunn did a interview with Entertainment Weekly recently, and he made a bunch of new comments that we're about the DC universe that we're going to talk about later on. And we also, to end the trailer episode, we're going to talk about the trailer for Gen V season 2 coming out of Amazon and the Boys universe. But the first thing that we're going to talk about today is Alien Earth, the new TV series coming out of FX. I guess executively produced by Ridley Scott and made for TV by Noah Hawley, who did Bones, who did Fargo, who did Legion.
Kind of surprised me that Ridley Scott was producing this one, because I'm not sure he ever had plans to bring this franchise to Earth, you know?
Well, from what comments that I read is that Ridley Scott was basically saying, Alien should be as big as Star Wars. I set it up that there was this rich world, we did Alien, we did Aliens, James did his thing with Aliens. But eventually the franchise kind of started to die after Alien 3. And
Alien, Resurrection was after, I think, or something, or
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But then he's and I started to bring it back with Prometheus, and people really seemed to enjoy that. And then it kind of tanked again. But now we've had this resurgence with Alien Romulus. So he's I did my part. Hopefully people can make it continue. And I would say I was very interested in this TV show ever since. I probably wouldn't have been as interested in it, to be fair, if it wasn't for Alien Romulus. But Alien Romulus was so good that I was all right. Because I to this day, I could rewatch that movie over and over. I really enjoyed that movie. I really love that movie.
I like it too. I'm not sure I like it as much as you, but yeah.
But so it's made by the same guy who did the Fargo TV series, which I absolutely adore. And
I've only ever seen the movie, unfortunately.
The TV series is great. But so this trailer comes out and I don't know what to think. But if you were to tell me that this was you didn't tell me that this was a TV show, I would have thought that this is a feature film. And
I would agree.
It looks amazing. I was very impressed with how true it stuck with the I guess the aesthetics of the Alien universe, but then also
specifically the 80s Alien movies where they have the older technology, they bring that shit back, and I was oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So with the typing green screens and the white computer rooms and even some of the containment rooms and obviously the spacecrafts. But they're bringing this to Earth, and it's a prequel series. And when you I guess I can read a little bit.
Isn't it set a year before the original movie?
2 years before. 2 years, okay. So
set in the year 2120.
When the mysterious deep space research vessel USCSS Magnaut crash lands on Earth, Wendy and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat. And so there's a bit of alien and aliens probably, wrapped into there with the military group. And then it's this kind of horror aspect of these creatures that this research ship has picked up. And what I find, so first of all, it looks gorgeous. The premise is so interesting by having like they're expanding upon the artificial intelligence, like the synth sort of, so to speak. Of
we
like
get to see the first person ever go into a synth body. That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to see like where they take that storyline. Also, from what I understand, like I think most of the world is run by like 5 corporations, and like that Wayland.
I love that that's like such a normal theme for like futuristic society. It's just corporations running the whole thing.
I mean, I
get it. It makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some people who are calling for like monarchy and to be run by a benevolent CEO in 2025. So
you're not wrong.
These are things that unfortunately could be a possibility.
No, I agree.
And so like it's kind of the corporation aspect of this. It's also interesting that this is 2 years before the events of Alien, and this research craft comes down, and it's 5. It seems to me 5 separate creatures from like the deepest, darkest parts of the world. So like, cool. So we're gonna get like even more life forms potentially, and
I think so too. Like,
and what's really interesting to me is if people have been theorizing in the Predator Badlands,
I was just gonna go into
that they even said like the woman in that movie is like unlike anything that you've seen before in the Predator universe. And when her eyes light up, apparently it's got like the company, like the Wayland company.
She's confirmed to be like a Wayland, like robot or synth, whatever you want to call it.
So it's so interesting that both of these properties are like probably being slowly merged into each other, and we're having this shared universe.
Well, what's really interesting too is that in that like Predator Badlands trailer, like there was like people are theorizing that there was another alien skull like showcased there, and then it looked very much like the skull from like the alien from Independence Day. And so they're like,
that would be crazy.
But like, I think like Disney, owns all of these properties now. So
they do.
They could easily like create just this mega alien like universe. Not sure I need that, but like that'd be pretty cool, I guess.
I mean, I don't know if I need the Independence Day thrown into it.
But maybe this alien like shows it's one of the 5 creatures or something, and like we have this like mega like, what would you call that? Like crossover. Yeah. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. But obviously they're gonna be introduced fairly quickly to the xenomorphs. But what I find so fascinating about all of it and it being a prequel is, and going into Romulus as well, is the Wayland company by the end of this series has to know like what they brought back is terrible and it could destroy the entire Earth. If not, maybe the entire Earth is like taken over by this fucking thing.
Well, I guess that's what's confusing a little bit because
they have the ship still going to pick it up, and even into Romulus, like they're still picking up this goddamn thing. It's like what happens on Earth that they're like that's what I'm so fascinated. It's like, what are they gonna find out about it?
None of the ships ever seem to like know about these aliens, so like that it makes me feel like this outbreak or like this whatever you want to call it, this like invasion of like this alien creature is like pretty self-contained, maybe like within this crew. I'm like, because like how are you explaining the fact that like nobody else in the other movies has ever heard of a xenomorph, You kind of have to contain it.
But I've like they always talk about like in Romulus, like we're gonna go home, I should be able to leave or like go to another colony planet or whatever.
Right.
Maybe there's no place to go.
maybe
back to.
Yeah.
And they're just keeping that from people.
I think what's like interest. I guess my theory at a point was that like, and it was, I don't know if anybody else has had it. I'm sure people have, but like he also made Blade Runner, right? So like that's a horrible like futuristic society where people are like leaving the planet. So I was like, oh well, maybe like, you know, people are leaving the planet and going into space, and then like that's where the alien movies take place, right? So I mean, obviously, like this society doesn't look like a future version of Blade Runner at all. So there goes that theory, I guess. But I think you could be right.
Also,
I mean,
different corporations, I think.
Sure, you're right. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you never really. I don't know. I mean, like aliens so far in the future, you could be like, well, new corporations rose up, whatever. But
what year does it take
2019.
place? What?
Blade Runner takes place 2019.
But and then when does Alien take place?
Well, if this is 2120, then it would take place in 2122.
I mean,
so a whole 103 years later.
Yeah, it could. But it already looks pretty dystopian. Like
it does.
There's these all these almost decimated to like still kind of intact, like skyscrapers and city.
No, I mean it doesn't look like a bad society right now. I mean on the surface,
it looks a little desolate.
It looks a little gray. I'll give you that. Yeah, a little corporate gray. But no, I don't know. I mean, like trailer looks dope. Looks terrifying, and
it looks really good.
How many episodes do we have of this? Do we know?
Could
you imagine if we have like a whole 10 episodes?
I think 8.
8? Okay. All right. I don't hate that.
Yeah. 8. And then it debuts 2-episode premiere on August 12th. So I'm very really excited for that.
That's really soon.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff coming out this summer. Like,
the first 2 episodes come out on August 12th.
Yes, the first 2. That's what I said.
Oh, my bad. I only heard the first. My bad.
Yeah.
Cool. You were saying something?
I was gonna say there's a bunch of stuff coming out this summer that I'm really excited about, but then I also couldn't remember the things that were coming out TV wise this summer.
We got Peacemaker season 2 coming out in August.
There's that, yeah.
And then all the movies that are coming out.
Right.
Yeah. So no, it's a tasty summer for sure.
But yeah, that's probably everything that we wanted to talk about regarding Alien Earth. The second trailer that we're going to talk about today is something that is very dear to me. So, you know, music biopics, they've been done a million times. I do love
music biopics though.
But I still love a music biopic. And specifically, there's been a growing a growing want and desire for maybe a biopic that isn't so cut and dry by the numbers of, you know, this is the artist growing up and this is, you know, their entire life. And then
this is them getting screwed over. And
he gets screwed over. He does drugs. He gets clean. He gets back at them, you know, yada, yada, yada. So we've seen it, but like we love the music. And I don't know. I think everybody enjoys a redemption story or comeback story of some kind.
What's like so obviously different to me about this, and maybe I am reading it wrong.
Well, let me say what the thing is.
Sure. Go on.
Let me say what the thing is.
Okay. Oh, you haven't even said the name?
No, I haven't even said the name. So there's the biggest buildup ever. There's a new Jeremy Allen White led movie called Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere, which is coming out in October by the same director who did Crazy Heart, which Scott Cooper, which if you guys don't remember, it won I think it won a ton of awards back when it came out in 2009. And this is the same guy who's done Out of the Furnace, which was a Christian Bale movie that was like a lot of people liked at the time. He did Black Mass, which was Johnny Depp playing Whitey Bulger in Boston, which was like kind of like a mob crime movie. Oh my God, did he do Antlers? He did do Antlers, which is a terrible horror movie. So like maybe...
So he's not 100%.
We don't talk about that one, but he's made some like pretty good movies. And I would say Crazy Heart was like his rise to fame, and a lot of people loved it. And that was the Jeff Bridges like country singer sort of movie.
Okay.
So you put that movie, and then you go to like this Bruce Springsteen biopic, first Bruce Springsteen biopic that I'm aware of, and it's about his time period writing Nebraska, which is what some people would say is like his best work, or his most long withstanding work, and it's probably like it's a bit more country folk tinge than anything else that he's done. But I think it's a very from what I understand, and like people like my dad would know much more than me. I even texted him and was like, "Did you see that this was coming out?" And he's like, wrote me like a whole paragraph of like when, like what kind of transpired during this time, and I was like, "Oh, that is interesting." So it's a very interesting, self-reflective, transformative time that I'm aware of. It's not your typical like we said, started here, ended up here. Maybe there'll be a bit of that mixed in, but I was really excited just in general when this came out, or when this was announced, but I was not prepared when I watched the teaser like just the day before, and it was like a cassette being played of like a demo for Born in the USA, but it was like the Nebraska sessions, which were all like just him and his audio engineer in like a room. And it starts off with Bruce's vocals, but then it like transitions at a point to Jeremy's vocals.
Oh, really?
And I was like,
nice.
It sounds almost exactly the same.
Wow.
It sounded so. I was very impressed.
So it's I get a very similar vibe from this movie, and like in that story is like the Bob Dylan movie that just came out.
There's similarities maybe like sonically, but I think.
Well, I think in that story, Timothy Chalamet, right? Yeah. Didn't he also like kind of learn to sing for that role? I mean,
he did.
Yeah,
he did sound like Dylan, but maybe like I think if you put Dylan,
so you think Jimmy Allen Wright is closer to Springsteen than he is to Dylan? Okay.
I mean, like nice. Timothy did a great job, but like if you play Dylan and then you play Timothy, it's like it's pretty clear which one is who. But,
right.
But it was good. It was still good.
Nice.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say at the beginning though, what's so cool, what it looks like is different about this than like other biopics is that so many times the manager is like the one who's out to get them.
Right.
And this one feels like the exact opposite, where you have this guy who's like who believes that he's like the greatest person in the world. And
right, he's gonna change the world.
Yeah, he's gonna change himself for the better, and then change the world for the better. And I was like, wow, that is quite the pitch. And it made like that alone was like, okay, I'm down to see this.
But done by none other than Jeremy Strong.
Yeah, Jeremy Strong's in this
from Succession.
I don't know if you ever saw I, Tonya.
I haven't.
This guy who I don't know if you remember the guy who like was recording.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah. He's in I, Tonya. He was really good in that.
Yeah, I heard he's really good. I'm sure I've probably seen him in something, but like,
right.
Like, I like that Stephen Graham. He plays his dad, which I know I've seen. I know I've seen him in some stuff like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Pirates of the Caribbean, Irishman.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, he was like the police officer in Venom Let Them Be Carnage. But like these are maybe not always like these may not be like the best, like
right.
But I still I enjoy him as an actor. Like he's in that. Mark Maron's in this, I guess.
Neat. Okay.
So I mean, some pretty good names in here, but I think just like selling point, Jeremy Allen White, and especially after watching
vocals,
like Iron Claw and his work on The Bear, and then you got Jeremy Strong. I mean, and like that pitch of like this isn't about the record label. This isn't about us. This isn't about money. This is about Bruce and his songs. And I was like, I love that.
Fuck yeah. So do you know if this is like solely taking place in like 82, or is it like, you know, is it going to take place 82 to present or something, you know?
No, I think this is like specifically going to just be like
maybe just the 80s or something.
There'll be some I think there'll be some cutbacks to his childhood.
Okay.
And then I think it'll primarily just be like the focusing of like writing that album. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, during this time, he also is working on stuff for like the next album, which is probably the most commercially successful, which was Born in the USA.
Right.
So there might be a bit of those two. And I think you're going to see like they play Born to Run in the trailer. Like that's what they're performing.
Weren't they thinking of calling it that at one point?
I don't know.
Okay. I thought so, but I could be wrong.
But it's also based on a book that was written. So
okay. So probably not
during this time period, but it just I think there's like a lot of stuff going on with his like then to be wife going on in the movie as well.
Some drama.
Like I was reading the comments on like a Facebook post of like when this dropped, and like I noticed that there was a ring on his finger, but he wasn't married at that time, and I was like, man, these Bruce fans are like,
they're all about
like
it.
They really are on their shit, and I was like, okay, like so
let's take a step back, y'all.
And I think it looks really good. Like I know I thought that the Bob Dylan movie looked great, but maybe I'm a little biased because I love Bruce so much, but I do think that this looks really, really good. And I think I
agree.
Come Oscar season, like the fact that they're putting a trailer out in June and it comes out in October, like I just think that like they're trying to build a lot of hype.
Yeah. Well, and like putting a movie out in October is pretty good way to get yourself in Oscar eyes, because late releases do a little better for some reason. So
but yeah, I mean,
I agree. It looks great.
Okay. Cool. I was gonna ask, like, what do you think? But yeah, because I just take up the whole time talking about it.
No. I mean, you're the guy who's a Springsteen fan, so it makes sense. You know, I don't know anything about Springsteen other than like a few of the songs I've heard, and I like, you know, I kind of said it, like the vibe of this trailer is different than other like this and the Bob Dylan biopic are like two of the most recent that feel like we're taking the right step or the right direction in musical biopics. And I mean, I'm hyped to hear Jeremy Allen White sing the whole time and to see a really good story. Like, and I'm happy about the fact that it's just like a part of his life. Like we don't have to see like every single part of it. So
right. Yeah.
I'm very, very excited too. Looks really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, now we're gonna move on to the new Superman trailer. That's like trailer number 4 or 3 at this point or something.
Maybe like 3.
Probably the third like big trailer.
Probably the last one.
I think it is. Well, yeah. I mean, we got a month until it comes out. So
less than a month.
Comes out July 11th. You're right. Less than a month. I cannot believe that, dude. That's crazy.
I know.
But yeah, this was a cool kind of different direction for the Superman trailer because we got like a narration from Lex. And I really liked it because we got a little window into like his psyche. Like we've been being told of like, yeah, he's a super jealous person who, you know, James Gunn, I think recently was like, he looks at Superman the same way like artists look at AI. It's like they think they're the original, they're like the pure form. And then this thing was just like given everything, right? Like Superman was given all his gifts. He didn't earn anything, right? And so we got, like a view into his mind, and he's a bit of a psychopath, I think. You know, he's got a couple of like, I'll destroy you. And of course, that reporter you always do interviews with, who raised you as a child? I'll kill them too. And I'm just like, Okay, yeah. Let's just kill innocent parents for no reason. That's yeah, that makes sense. And then like the people who like side with Superman at the end, he's like, yeah, they chose him. Let him die. And I'm like, all right, yeah, that's Lex for you, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I like going into what you're talking about with Lex. There's a Entertainment Weekly article that came out that we're going to get into after this. But what made me so happy to hear is that like probably the most, like the biggest inspiration for Lex's character is a specific couple panels where in All-Star Superman, where Clark goes to interview Lex when he's in jail. And I won't give away like everything, but like this is a Lex who is like, this is what makes me excited. This is a Lex who is working to be physically dominant, who is like saying why he thinks that humans and like the like being a human and all these things that make somebody great, like that, or like why humans are great, and like he's like this alien and he didn't have to do anything, and like there's this drive, and there's even in that same, if I'm correct, I think there's even like a bit of that super science that James talks about, where he's like, it's such high advanced science that it almost appears to be like magic at times.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. So
kind of, maybe they dive into that, but it definitely happens in the comic. I just don't know if it happens in this particular scene. Will, but
because like the monologue he's giving in the trailer is what it looks like. It's he's like talking to Superman when he's inside like one of Lex's like glass cells or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right? And so that to me makes me think, well, those cells are like power dampening, right? So like that's almost magical. Like you know, for technology to do that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, other stuff.
But like I'm just very. That is and there may have been a toy leak of something that I will talk about. But if I get that in this movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I saw the leak.
You know, obviously that would have been cool to like be surprised. I still haven't.
I agree.
I still have not made it official. Like, I'm not like, that's going to happen, because there's been, you know, there's been plenty of times where like stuff like that has not happened.
Right. Like it's been cut from the movie or something.
But if it does.
Look, I think at least means it's been filmed. So I think there's that.
I don't know if it's been filmed. I've been waiting a long time to see that. If I see it, which I think they will be.
Should we just say it?
No. Well, no.
Okay. All right.
But I will say that it involves, we see maybe prototypes of it with Lex's like soldiers in this movie, who like, I guess they're called Raptors. Like there was a little like child's book or like or mini comic as well that came out and said that like these are Lex Luthor's henchmen who fly around in these mechanized suits and they're called Raptors.
Interesting.
And
well, we see a really great action shot with that.
You know, I thought that shot was great, but why the fuck is everybody like, why does it seem like all these people online just hate that VFX shot of Krypto taking off the mask and Superman punching him and the glass clinking on the camera? I
think people are scarred by the Flash. I think people see like not like 100% amazing VFX and they're like, oh no. They're like, oh god, this is another like cheap ass like.
But that shot was so movie. Cool.
It was cool. Like I love that like him and Krypto are like so synchronized and like on each other's same page, where like Krypto knows just to like to fly up, take the helmet off, spin him around. Superman spins and just knocks like the guy's teeth out. Like it's perfect. I love it. But we get a lot of great action in this trailer. We get him fighting more of that big robot guy with the lasers. We get him fighting somebody else with laser eyes. Maybe it's the person inside that robot suit.
I think it's the guy whoever like Ultraman is.
Okay, so that's you think it's Ultraman out of his like full on suit because it looks like he's got longer hair almost, you know?
Yeah, I mean you could tuck it in there, right?
Sure, no, I agree. I'm just saying it's him outside of like the Ultraman suit.
I have also seen a theory that it might be this character who's a Kryptonian who's like, I forget his name. I think it starts with a Z. Like it's not Zor-El. Maybe it is Zor-El, and it's like he's this guy who's kind of General Zod like, I guess, in the sense that like he's trying to preserve Kryptonian stuff, like heritage. And so I don't know if that's true, but people have been saying that like he could be that.
Interesting.
It could also be like Bizarro. I don't know, but
it could be a lot of different.
It could also just be straight up Ultraman, and it's
which I'm fine
a bad Superman from another dimension.
Yeah. But we also get an amazing shot of Superman at the end where he's just like spinning around full on like a what do you want, like a topper, like a what are those called,
tornado, or
like you know, like you like those spinny top things, or I guess like let's just say like a Beyblade, spin around like a Beyblade, just like lasering everybody in his sight. One of the coolest like action moments for a superhero I've seen in a while. Just like thrown it at the end of the trailer, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, and I mean we get besides action, we get a lot of great like it makes me question like what the hell is happening in this movie. Like,
I mean, the scale is insane.
The scale's crazy. Yeah, like Metropolis is like splitting in half at one point in the trailer. And I'm like, how are you fixing that? Like, how are you like I guess Superman can like push the earth against itself. I don't know.
From what I understand, the extra like I forget what they call it, but the room inside of Peacemaker's dad's,
like the pocket dimension.
The pocket dimension room is also plays a part in this movie.
No way. Wow.
And
that's cool.
So I'm thinking that something either with Metamorpho or something to do with this pocket dimension has to do with that in particular, because it does seem like they're going into this like other realm of sorts.
Yeah, this movie's gonna surprise the hell out of me.
I think there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and we just don't know. Yeah.
If they do pull on like stuff from All-Star Superman, I wouldn't be surprised if it's if that is Bizarro that he's fighting. But I don't know if the world that he's going into is like the like upside down world that like Bizarro's in that comic.
That'd be cool.
It could be. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
I'd be into it. Yeah. What else happens in this trailer? Well, we get yeah, I mean, speaking of Metamorpho, we get a pretty intense scene with like maybe Superman's kind of unconscious, and there's like a bunch of random like colored blocks in front of him, and Superman's holding this baby, and I think it's Metamorpho's baby. I would assume. I think everyone can assume that at this point. But I think he's going to be a pretty important part of this movie that I didn't expect. Yeah, and I don't know really anything about Metamorpho. I don't know if you do.
I mean, I know his powers and like some of his backstory, but
okay. Well, what's the backstory?
Well, the backstory is that he was created by, well, either he used to own a company or he was just created by this guy named Simon Stagg, which Stagg Industries is a part of this movie.
Okay,
and he kind of has it out for him.
He does. James Gunn did say that like multiple tech billionaires are in this like movie.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Sounds like you're right. Yep.
And then like basically I think like Baby Joey is leverage.
Okay.
From what I think is going on. Yeah.
I guess we'll see if he adapts it one for one. But yeah, I also thought a really cool, like small detail in this trailer was like, you saw, like you didn't see Superman like go laser eyes before the moment, but like you could tell there was a moment where like he had like the scorched like stuff around his eyes, and I was like, that's a nice detail. They did
and
that
all the
in the
Snyder
animated
Bros
stuff, right?
are like, "Oh, he's not as strong." And then it's like you look at Henry Cavill and it's like his eyes were singed too, a little bit. It's like,
yeah, and here's the thing. He is incredibly strong. Like they call him at this point in the trailer the most powerful person on the world, on the earth. You know, and like, yeah, James Gunn does say like, yeah, like Guy Gardner's pretty powerful, and like, but he's like, superheroes are powerful in this universe. And so yes, like Superman isn't as powerful as he has been in the comics, but like he's still the most powerful being on Earth. I feel like that's enough.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I mean, like, if you're looking for Henry Cavill level of like invincibility, I don't think you're gonna get it with this movie.
Not a chance. Because even Steppenwolf couldn't like put a scratch on him.
Yeah, you know? So it's like, and it makes the character more interesting. I mean, he's still gonna come out on top. Like, he's still,
yeah, it's a Superman movie, right?
But like, he is a more. I agree. Like, there's things about him being not as powerful that makes him more interesting.
Right. Yeah, but I think
or at least to watch.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. The only other two things I really kind of enjoyed was like seeing more of like his sense of humor in the trailer, like with Mr. Terrific, like at the end. And then the flying shots. I thought like all the flying shots in the trailer looked great. There was a bunch of different we had a like really close one up where we were like full on flying him, do like the like the arms out front. But yeah, I think James Gunn has nailed almost every aspect of this movie trailer wise so far. You know, I'm not gonna like say it's 100% lock that I'm gonna love this, but it's looking that way for sure. Yeah,
it's looking that way.
It is indeed. But yeah, I think that's our thoughts on the final Superman trailer, and then we'll be reviewing that in a month or less, probably. So, but yeah, now we are going to get into James Gunn's multiple interviews that he's done recently.
Right.
But yeah, he dropped a lot of more information. I think it's definitely a different update than he did last time, and I'm loving that he's just like doing an interview every like 2 or 3 months and just like giving us a whole shit ton of information to talk about.
Well, this one's definitely to like, start the press cycle for Superman.
Sure. Yeah. I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think a couple of the interesting things is that like recently Warner Brothers came out and was like, our 4 pillars of the DC universe are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl. And now James Gunn in this interview is like, yep, we already have like 2 of these locked in, and now Batman and Wonder Woman are like our main priorities, and we're writing for both of them at the moment. And which did surprise me because he had, from what I can tell, he had 0 plans for Wonder Woman in phase 1. Like, yeah, he had the mascara show planned, but I
don't think that's happening.
I feel like that's not happening at this point. Because
I think what I would like to like hypothesize is that these were all ideas that they were like, these are the things that we want to do.
Right.
And then as time went on, they were like, you know what? Actually, let's do this. Yep. And I think I also think like scripts came in and he was like, like some scripts he's just not going to be into. And then the project just doesn't go forward. Yeah. And I think that they were like, we need to make an announcement video about what we're thinking.
Yeah.
And like, I would say that 50% or so, like of that original list is like, maybe like 50 to 40% is like still there, but I think it's just like being adjusted.
Well, I think it feels like he was almost forced to have like a plan, because like everything he said since is more like, yeah, we have a plan, but like if a movie comes to us and the script's amazing, we're going to make it. And if it's not amazing, we're not going to make it. So like, it's definitely like, what's great is that he even mentioned in this interview, I think that like what killed Marvel recently was having that mandate of like to put out a certain amount of content for Disney Plus and movies. But now like he has zero mandate to put out, projects. He just has to put out good projects.
Right.
So I think this universe is already in like starting in a better shape than like the MCU is currently. But yeah, no, what was I going with that? I think I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, that there was a movie that they were gonna do, but like everybody seemed to have wanted to do it, and then the screenplay wasn't good.
So like phase one, I think it would be a bummer to not get like a majority of those projects. Like I think the big one I really want is The Authority. Like I really want to see Superman like clash with that group. I think that would be really cool. And maybe that's like one of the things he said in this interview was like he's writing a Superman type sequel. It's not really a direct sequel, but like he is in it. So maybe it's like Superman and the Authority, or like Superman and Batman, and I don't think it'll be like the next movie after Supergirl, but
I think I don't think it'll be like Superman and Batman. I don't think they're doing like world's finest.
Sure.
Necessarily.
Because you'd really be copying the old formula.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, but you don't even have you don't even have your Batman yet.
Well,
so
neither did the DCU.
and look what happened.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, those two were fighting each other, I guess, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, like if I had to guess which movie that they like cut because they didn't think it was ready, like I guess I would say it could be Authority.
Well, I think it probably will be, because that automatically is going to be an expensive movie. It's live action. You're having 6 or so superhero characters, and Superman itself is already an expensive movie. So this would have to perform really well for the Authority to be made, I think.
I don't think that that's necessarily true.
Okay,
but I do think that it's probably that movie.
Because I still think Swamp Thing will be made at some point.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like you could make that just like Clayface for like 40 mil and have a really cool like solo horror.
But you're just talking about money at that point. He's talking about screenplay.
I feel you, but like
doesn't even matter what the price is.
No, I agree. But I do think that like the price will matter at a point.
Well, yeah, it will.
And it's why Clayface was able to move forward, I think, as fast as it did. Like, yeah, yes, it was a great script, but also it cost $40 million,
I mean, I think it costs $40 million once you like figure out what they need to make that movie happen.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
So like you would be like, oh, that's a great screenplay. Like what do we estimate will need to be the cost? And then maybe that 40 million makes it a little bit more of like, okay, I think we can like, this is even more appealing to start to work on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Like, I think Swamp Thing is probably like safe. And that is a movie that I'm very, very much wanting to happen. But
right. I mean, obviously The Brave and the Bold, it won't be canceled because it's Batman. So
yeah, I do.
But it's funny that that's his greatest challenge right now. That's what he's saying.
It makes sense that it's
because of Pattinson. Yeah. I mean,
well, like you mean that
because there's like an already like amazingly successful Batman happening, and he wants to make it different, but he doesn't want to make it campy, is what he's saying.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he's like, where do I go direction wise with the character?
I think the way to go with it is the way that those Justice League International comics and the like Justice League animated show kind of did, where Batman is the most serious. I mean, not that he doesn't have some moments of levity, but like he's serious and he is taking like he's the one you don't like mess with, and like all this ridiculous meta-human stuff is happening, and then he's like, are you guys finished? And like he's super like, he's like, you don't fuck with Batman, kind of like, not make it like he's still fighting like monsters and everything, and he's, you know, and maybe like his gadgets are more like elevated than they would in a Pattinson, but I think it's like a Pattinson movie, but
yeah, I think the action will have to be elevated to fit the DCU.
Yeah, I think you just like play him more like straight and serious.
I think you play him like Kevin Conroy in a sense. You know?
Yeah.
Like I think he needs to be this like stoic, and especially where like there's already been 4 Robins, right? I think like he needs to be like a little bit older than what we've seen recently. But yeah, that stoic, like authoritative presence that's like a father figure to so many, right?
Yeah.
And I think that alone, like you have the elevated action like in the Flash for Batman, and then you have a more stoic older Batman. I think that alone separates him from what Matt Reeves is doing. You know?
Yeah, and I think you also need to make him like, there's all this like cosmic big stuff happening. I think you need to make him the character that's like
street level. Right.
Well, not even so much like to put him in a street level, but like make him somebody who's cares the most about humans.
Sure.
And makes him care the most about like just normal people.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think eventually we'll see like, you know, the Hall of Justice and Justice League, and like he'll be a part of that, and
but
it'll get crazy, but
he'll always be like the one who's not wrapped up into it, and he's like he'll always be thinking of like the people. He'll always be the guy with the plan. He'll always be the one you don't like mess with, and like there all this goofy stuff's happening, but like he's the one who's still like playing it kind of straight. I think would be the best way to go, and not have him do like a bunch of like punny jokes or like, you know.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that he's not going campy with it. Is what I'll say. Yeah. What else did he say in this interview? I know I guess it was mentioned that Supergirl was retitled. Like Woman of Tomorrow is not in the title anymore. It's just Supergirl.
Which I you know, at first I was like, I don't know, I kind of like that Woman of Tomorrow thing, but the more I thought about it, like,
I think it just makes sense.
I agree. Like they were kind of talking about like, you know, that pre-mortem thing of like, what are we doing to that's like could potentially tank this movie or prevent it from being really amazing, and it's like just drop the legacy from Superman, because it feels like we're going in the past, and then like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, like it's, first of all, it's like, I guess it, like when you think about it, it's like it is a little much to be like, I'd like to see Supergirl, you know, Woman of Tomorrow. Or like it's an ad already of itself, and it's like, well, what are we selling? We're selling Supergirl. We're gonna go watch Supergirl.
You start to put those like the colon like second part of the title, like when you have sequels, right? And I think like let's get these people invested in the character itself, and then we can like play with the title later on, right?
Right. Like, because I didn't even think about it necessarily, but like when it comes to the sequels, but it does, I guess it does make a little bit more sense once you go like Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Right.
You know, like it's not like Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. It's like Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. It just works a little bit more.
Sometimes it is like they don't put a 3 or a 2 in there. But
it's, I don't know, it's an interesting thing because like Thor Ragnarok, I don't know if I necessarily want to be like Thor 3 Ragnarok or like
agreed, right?
Thor 4 Love and Thunder,
Thor 2 Dark World. Yeah, that would be, I don't like that.
I don't know. Right. It's I think as much as it's like, I don't think there's a formula like to it. I think sometimes it's just like what feels the best, and I think especially for Supergirl, I think just dropping the Woman of Tomorrow, like, especially you potentially run the risk. It's more marketable, but it's also you run the risk of like people expecting it to be like exactly that comic it comes from, and I'm sure it strays from that, so
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, well, it's not the main villain that they had in the comic. It's the main villain they wanted originally, but but Lobo isn't in that comic at all. So
yeah.
I think it makes sense, and you drop confusion of people being like, was this a part of something? Was this a sequel?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the last thing in that interview that was pretty interesting was that like James Gunn talked about killing a script in a movie. I think his quote exactly was, everybody wanted to make the movie. It was greenlit, ready to go. The screenplay wasn't ready. I couldn't do a movie where the screenplay is not good. To me, this feels like it's obviously Sergeant Rock. I mean, maybe it's something else, but like that was the only other movie in my knowledge that was like really close to being like ready to film. And what's funny is that like I don't think we had ever heard it had been like officially greenlit. So maybe it was like just close or something, but I would have loved to have seen that movie, but if the script wasn't there, then it wasn't there.
And I don't think that it's completely like gone. I just think that it just wasn't ready.
It's on the back burner now, and somebody else can deal with the script in the meantime.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, not a huge loss. I mean, like I don't.
And there's other things to focus on right now. Like he's obviously focused on like Batman and Wonder Woman. Those are like the two most important things.
It's not one of your money makers, unfortunately. So it's a cool like, passion project, war project, but like, does it totally fit?
And it can come at
right
like
now?
any point.
Exactly. Because it's going to be set in the 50s. It's not going to be like present day DCU.
Right.
So yeah, no, I feel you. I don't think this was an absolute loss, and I think the only loss to me is that we lost Daniel Craig, to be honest. But
but I mean, if they still go through with it at some point, they do have Colin Farrell potentially up for that role, which would be also really cool.
Yeah. I did hear about that. That's right. So yeah, maybe it'll come to fruition in the future. But props to him for killing a movie that didn't have a good screenplay. So, yeah. But I think that's everything in the interview, unless I missed something.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that they talked about, but yeah, I mean, those I feel like are like the biggest ones making the rounds.
Right. But the last thing we wanted to touch on was the recent season 2 trailer for Gen V. I think this was a pretty interesting trailer that took some like directions I wasn't expecting. But first, I like the new Dean quite a bit. I think it's a different vibe than like Shetty, I think was her name or something. That's what they called her. But he's much more on the side of like a puppet for Vought. It feels like, right? Like I mean, he's like full on like fascist. Like people got to see that we have Vought blue in our blood,
like the equivalent of like taking somebody from like Fox News and being like this and putting them in a college and being like, this is how a college you're an American, and we're gonna teach you to be a patriot.
We're gonna put you to work. Yeah. But he's got a good like creepy kind of evil vibe. He reads Marie like a book at the beginning and is like, yeah, I don't buy that you're appreciative. You want to kill me right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I don't know if you noticed, but like kind of the next or one of the scenes after that was he was like giving his welcome speech to the college or like commencement speech, whatever you want to call it. And there was like these 4 banners in the back of like who the guardians of Godolphin were. And it was, Sam and Kate from, who obviously was in that. But then they added Emma and Jordan into it. And I'm like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, so it makes me think like, did something like what happened where like the college now needs like Jordan and Emma to like be a part of their like, star students. Because like the last time we saw that, they were just put in prison, and we saw the beginning of the trailer too.
I kind of forget how the end went down with them fighting.
So at the very end, remember, Jordan is about to get like basically mind controlled by Kate, and Marie is like, no, and explodes Kate's arm. And then Homelander, like out of nowhere, comes in, flies down, and is like, you like killing your own kind? And
well, maybe it's because Jordan was mind controlled.
Well, I guess they could give that excuse, I guess. But Jordan wasn't mind controlled.
Well, I thought you just said that Jordan.
No, it was like she was reaching out to do it, and Marie stopped her before she did it, and like exploded her arm.
Whose arm? Oh,
Kate's
I see
arm.
what you're saying.
Kate was reaching out to mind control.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So like, like Jordan and Emma aren't like, they're not as I guess in the wrong as Marie was. And that's why I guess Marie isn't a part of the Guardians of Godolphin anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
But yeah, I think another interesting aspect was that like we don't actually know what happened to Andre. I thought it was just gonna be like they mishandled him and killed him, but it seems like there's a little bit of a mystery there.
Yeah, that is the one really unfortunate.
I wish they had recast, to be honest.
That's the one really unfortunate thing that kind of like cast a little bit of a shadow while I'm watching the trailer, is that there isn't going to be Chance Perdomo in the show. Obviously,
truly, he was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
like
he was great.
1.
And like, it's really unfortunate that he had that motorcycle accident.
For sure.
And like, it's tough because like I get the
sentiment,
sentiment of like not wanting to recast. I really do. But to me, I guess the way that I feel about it is that you are not like dishonoring the role of the character, because
I think you're honoring Chance by like honoring the work he put in to create the character,
Yeah, like, because I don't necessarily like God forbid like something bad was to happen to who's the lead the lead character, Marie, played by Jazz Sinclair. Like, God forbid something was to happen to her. Like, I don't think that you would necessarily recast. I don't think that you would like.
You would just end her character's arc.
Stop that character. You would you'd probably recast. And maybe Andre was not like super pivotal, but he had a very large presence and
huge presence
going on. And if they can manage to do something with this potential mystery with his dad, like, and it ties and it's something like really well done, like, that would be great.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Like, I wish that they recast. As difficult of a decision as that is, I still think that like that is the character, and the character can be played by like
agreed,
somebody else.
Like, yes, it's not like clean per se. Like recasting is never like clean canonically, whatever.
But it's just like an unfortunate thing that occurred. For sure. But I understand it, and like, but so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I like first go around on the trailer, like I don't think I was like amazed, but like watching it a second time before we recorded, like, we're getting like the Deep and Firecracker in here a little bit, like that'll be interesting, and like this is like post end of season 4 of The Boys, so like we're in
so
this,
the world's fucked up right now.
Yeah, like we're in this very like what do you want to call it, like I would say that like we're a very pro soup
Oh yeah.
world.
I mean, you see it. I mean, you see like the people at the college saying like "fuck humans." I mean, they are full on just like not about those people, which is insane because like the superheroes were meant to protect the people, but
Yeah, like we're in like a full on like
Civil War.
state run propagandized world
Yeah.
where the colleges are being affected, and it's a very interesting place to be in, and
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see it. The only thing that I'm a little cautious of going into the season is, can they maintain the fun and levity
That
of
season one
at
was.
times of season one? Because
That's
the Gen V season one had such a great, like, what made it really fun at times was
Right.
the college life,
right.
and like,
And it was
how
just a college mystery, really, which was cool.
yeah. And how much are you gonna have with that in season 2, where like some of your classmates went to prison, and you're in like this kind of like fascist kind of like pro soup, we hate humans college, but like
Right.
some kids are still acting like everything's like fine. I don't know.
It's
It
gonna
could
be a different
really
vibe, I
good. It
think.
could also be
Right.
like not as fun, but you know, I'm still excited.
I think it'll be a little more serious, but I think like The Boys always has humor, and I think Gen V had humor as well. Like we'll see it come around. But yeah, I think what's another little like exciting aspect of this is that, and I think like I've really commended The Boys for like improving their action sequences like as they go on. Like I think like season 3 and 4 have some really great action points. And now we're getting like a whole arc where like the dean's it looks like he's selecting a group of students and being like, you're not students anymore, you're our soldiers.
right.
And so like they're gonna have like this training room where they fight elite superheroes, and then they also
Or
like
it could just be the whole college is like, you're going to be
Sure,
broken
maybe.
up into groups, and you're going to learn how to
Could
be
be.
soldiers because
Which
you're
is
going to be a
cool
part
too.
of Vought's army against the fucking humans or whatever.
Right, exactly. And what's cool too is that they showcase these like kind of like cage matches, I think, where like the students are gonna fight each other. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. I love like I don't know if you ever saw My Hero, but like some of the best moments from the early seasons is when like it's a training, or like it's you're in a test, and it's like two people fight each other, and we just go at it, and I'm
Right.
like, hell yeah, let's do it. So yeah, no, I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah. I think there what I would really like is for Sam and Kate to particularly
Have some development.
some redemption if possible.
Yeah, they were not likable in season 4 for sure.
But what I think I would like, I think, and maybe this is like my own brain talking, but like it feels to me to have like Kate, who's like popular girl, can be bitchy if she wants to, like mind control, like really sad backstory, like have like there, it's ripe for like somebody to I guess like stay bad. But I have this weird, and it's so easy for like Sam, who's like a little misunderstood, to like come around to being like good.
Well, he's still under like being brainwashed. Like he's
That's
still like Kate, like they just have to force Kate to like change him again. And then he's kind of back to normal.
Yeah. Maybe Kate will just forever stay bad.
Maybe. I mean, she's a crazy tool for like Vought to use. I mean,
I don't know.
brainwashing is insane.
It would be cool to see her have a redemption, but I don't know.
I would like to see Sam come back to the good side, but he's
I guess I forgot about that.
done a lot,
Yeah,
man.
I take it back. I think Sam comes back,
somehow.
and Kate's it would be great, but even if she has a redemption, I think she like dies afterwards, like pretty quickly.
I'd be okay with that.
I
really
do have some empathy for her. I
sucked at the end.
I do have empathy for her.
Only because like the previous dean like fucked with her so much. But yeah, just a little empathy for sure. But she, I don't know, man. She really like fucked up at the end where I'm okay with her dying at this point, you know. Sam, I don't want to die because he's like technically just like an innocent child who's just easily influenced, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe not so innocent anymore, but yeah. But this season comes out in September. We get another 8 episodes coming our way. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm loving that they like are alternating between the shows. Like I think it's really working for me. And yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that is all the time we have today. Thank you as always for watching and listening to our podcast. And if you want to listen and watch in the future, we release these, well, I guess bi-weekly now, and we release reviews weekly. You can watch and listen to those at the links in the description below. And if you want to support us by giving us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, or a subscribe, we greatly appreciate it.
Until next time.